Today, we're talking about this bad boy right here. Let's rewind the clock back to the mid-90s. I was living with my sister at the time. We had this apartment over in Tucson, and I was rocking the Sega CD. A great system. I enjoyed playing games like Prize Fighter and Corpse Killer. I know they're FMV games, but hey, I didn't mind it. It was pretty fun to play. Unfortunately, my sister was moving out and going to college at the time, and she's the one who owned the Sega Genesis. So I had to unfortunately part ways with my Sega CD. I went to the local Bookman's because I was living in Tucson at the time, and they gave me a lousy deal with barely enough to cover the price of the Sega Saturn. Now I had the choice between the Saturn or the PlayStation, but just something about the Saturn just grabbed me. I don't know if it was all those magazine ads with Ice Cube on them or the commercials, those crazy commercials they had, or maybe it was just the way it looked. I don't know, but I just loved the Saturn. It just has a beautiful black finish to it. It just, if you look at it, it just looks like a complete beast next to the good old PlayStation. And it did have some additional features that the PlayStation just didn't have. For instance, it has a backup battery so you can save games internally. It had an expandable slot right here so you can add up to 4 megabytes of additional RAM so you can play games like X-Men versus Street Fighter, or you can use it for an action replay, or you can actually expand the memory so you can save even more games. Now, the PlayStation is iconic with its titles, but you know what? The Sega Saturn did have a few good titles of their own. We're talking like Virtua Fighter 2 or Panzer Dragoon 2, X-Men versus Street Fighter, Scud the Disposable Assassin. That's just to name a few, you know? Now, unfortunately, the Saturn just couldn't hold up. It couldn't hold its own next to the PlayStation, especially with games like Metal Gear Solid or Resident Evil 2 coming out on the system. And unfortunately, I ended up parting ways with the Saturn and getting a PlayStation. Now let's fast forward the clock to, I'd say, about 2016, and I saw this bad boy over at a swap meet. So I ended up picking it up. It wasn't actually a bad deal. I think I paid 80 bucks. And next to the prices I see on eBay, I'd say I walked away with a fair deal. Now, one of the reasons I got this Saturn was for this little bad boy cartridge right here. This is the Pseudo Saturn. This actually has expandable RAM, and it had action replay codes on it as well. And the best part is once you pop this bad boy in, you can now play your burned copies. And let me tell you, I had a case logic full of these burned copies, and I was enjoying every minute of it. But eventually, I knew that I was running on borrowed time because the CD lasers were known to blow out on the Sega Saturn. Thankfully, Terra Onion came up with a great solution: the mode. This thing allows you to now replace the CD-ROM with a hard drive. So now I got a hard drive plugged into this bad boy, and combine it with a wireless controller and HDMI cables, you got yourself a modernized Sega Saturn. Was a pretty penny to pay for, but I'll tell you what, man, I haven't looked back since. This thing runs the games perfectly. I mean, you couldn't ask for it better. Even if it was emulated, emulation isn't the same. It's nowhere near the same playing next to hardware. And like I said, I haven't looked back. And I enjoy playing all those old games again on the Sega Saturn. This is just a beautiful system to have. So, question, what is your favorite Sega Saturn game? And please don't say Panzer Dragoon Saga, that's just too easy. So, that is my video for the Sega Saturn. I know it was a quick one, but you know, I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things. If you guys liked what you saw, hit the thumbs up, and of course hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this one. Until next time, stay true, stay you.